The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now, here's Steve Austin.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Stone Cold Podcast. I'm coming to you from San Jose, California, live and in living color. And I couldn't open up a can of whoop-ass by myself, so my very special guest tonight is none other than WWE diva, Paige.
That's me.
Paige,
Hi.
welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's really weird being here, though.
Hard-fought win on Monday Night Raw tonight. How are you feeling right now? Obviously, you got the big win. Are you nervous about the podcast? Are you excited about the podcast?
I'm freaking out about the podcast. This is awesome because I get to talk to you. And, I had to, rush straight from a match. I'm a little bit sway, so I have small a little bit. But that's why I'm, quite far back.
Let's talk about the match a little bit. How'd you feel about it?
I thought, it was cool. I'm every time I'm in there though, I'm my biggest critic. So every time I'm doing something, I was like, oh damn, I should have done this, or oh damn, I should have done that. So.
But you do that in the moment, because when I would go back and watch, then I would nitpick stuff. But while I'm doing it, I wouldn't think about it so much. Are you good about watching now and being harsh on yourself?
I can't watch back, but once I'm in the ring, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I completely messed that one up. Yeah.
Now we were talking before we went on the air, and this should be an Unleashed show because you talk a lot like I do on my explicit content show. You cuss a lot. So are you doing that in the ring?
Yeah, I do it in the ring. So if a girl catches me or whatever, I'll drop an F-bomb and I have to try not to, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to have a go at you. It's just this natural.
So they think you're mad at them?
Yeah, they think I'm mad at him.
Are you just harsh on yourself?
I'm harsh on myself, but I have to calm down. I get told all the time, Paige, you have to stop cussing. It's not ladylike. It sounds trashy, and I'm like. Well,
but it works for this business.
Yeah, I mean, not outside it probably. I should probably calm down on that.
I found out you were going to be on a podcast, and I was like, man, I'm really excited to talk to Paige because you have a very interesting story, and you're only 23 years old, but you've been in the wrestling business for 10 years. You've been in the ring for 10 years. And literally born in the business. Your mother was taking bumps when you were still, she was 7 months pregnant.
Yeah, look at that bad boy.
How many times, I've never talked to a 10-year veteran who was only 23 years of age. And so people were talking to me about the podcast. We love Paige, but she really hadn't been around that long. Yeah. Yes, you have.
Yes, I have, guys. Yes, I have.
I want to go back to your story and talk about how you got into the business, because your dad, Ricky Knight, and your mother, Soraya, have been in the wrestling business forever. Mm-hmm. And so talk about that. I know you've told this story a few times, but just kind of bring us up to speed on the WWE universe, up to speed on how you got into the business, because it's a lifetime thing for you.
Yeah, so my whole family are wrestlers, obviously. My mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister was a wrestler. There's my mom and dad. Oh, gorgeous. And then my granddad was a referee, my uncle was a wrestler. My nieces and nephews are now becoming wrestlers. It's just like a family business. My dad has his own company. But yeah, growing up, I was completely petrified and scared of wrestling, altogether. It scared me because I grew up and I saw the injuries that these guys had to, and I didn't get to see them very often because they were away all the time. So I was just like, oh no, I can't step in the wrestling ring. I watched it all the time, old school English.
Were you afraid of the perceived violence?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but my mom was blinded for 6 months from wrestling. You know what I mean?
What happened?
She got drop kicked in the eye from the top rope by this lady called Julie Starr, and that swelled up so much that then it got infected, went to the other eye, and for 6 months she just couldn't see. So my dad had cooked for her, I was cooking for her, and I was super young. I was under 10 years old, and I'm trying to cook this dinner for my mom because she's so sick, and then my dad wasn't there because he was wrestling and stuff, So there's so many pictures on there, man. I'm looking fresh as a daisy. Wow.
What does that do for you when your mother has actually lost sight from a wrestling match? Obviously, I would be petrified from the business.
It petrified me, and I was always one of those kids as well that'd be beside the ring crying my eyes out, trying to get in the ring, no, leave my mom alone. And my granddad, he was a referee, and he still thought, he would get into it. He'd start taking his shirt off, and he'd be storm about the ring, and I'm like, Granddad, you're the referee. You need to chill out,
But your mother and father were working in the business, and did they ever smarten you up and say, hey,
well, not when I was younger. They try and, kept me away from that kind of thing for, they wanted me to grow up to think that. But, at one point, obviously, I grew up and realized, okay, I know what this is. And I did a little bit of training with the family because my dad owns a training school, too. And me and my brother, actually, Zach, which is the one in the top corner with the hat on, he's 14 months older than me. Me and him would go in there and we'd do this thing called the Rob Van Dam Spa, and we'd like be running. And my dad was like shot a girl one day for one of the matches, and he was just like, "Hey, Rhea, do you want to get in there?" And I'm just like, "Are you serious? Like, I can't get in there." But I did, and like I was completely hurt, got knocked out. It was great on my first
How'd you get knocked out?
I can't remember.
Right.
I cannot remember. It was something, and then I think it was on my bump, and I didn't tuck my chin. And like I knocked my head, and all I can remember is just staring up at the ceiling like, "Oh, I love this. This is great. I want to do this forever," you know? It was wild. But yeah, from then on, I was like, no, I know what I want to do. And, you know, growing up with my brothers, especially Zach, who is so obsessed with the WWE, we used to watch the videos, and we used to have the little Titantrons and the action figures, and I was like, man, I want to be like the divas. Like, I want to be like Lita. I want to be like Bull Nakano. I want to be like Alundra Blaze. Like, I want to be like these women. And they were amazing athletes, and they were awesome, and I was just like, I want to be that one day. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to like send out my resumes by the time I was 13, send them out everywhere. My mom helped me write them.
Okay, but let's go back to your training. I mean,
Yeah.
Because was it basically your mother in the ring training with you? Did your dad chip in? And obviously second generation, some people just kind of, through osmosis or just the fact that they're around the business so much, they pick it up.
Yeah.
Me, myself, going through the school, I was a slow learner. I was aggressive, but hard to learn.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Well, it was hard, especially the selling part, because obviously before I was 13, I haven't been in a real fist fight before, so I didn't know how to, like, the way to move my body around and stuff. So, like, it would be my parents and mostly my brothers, Zach and Roy. And the way they taught me how to sell, they would stand me in the middle of the ring. They'd say, like, okay, so we want you to close your eyes, and then we're going to hit you. Like, but not too hard, but to the point where you're just like, oh, and then it taught you how to
Right.
sell properly. But yeah, they would do that for a good 15 minutes where, like, I'd have to close my eyes and I wouldn't know where it was coming from. Over here, boom, my mom would slap me in the face, and I'm like, like, I'm 13. This is borderline, you know. This isn't good. This isn't good.
But you were able to put two and two together and come up with the concept.
Helped. Yeah, it definitely helped. But yeah, especially when I had matches with them too. When I had matches, people thought, oh, they're gonna hold back because they're no, they beat the living sea at me. You know what I mean? My dad's a big guy, and he did this thing where he like sits on people.
Right.
So I was like lying on the floor, and he like runs and jumps and like sits on my chest, and everyone in the crowd's just like, oh my gosh, and I'm like 13, like, my big old dad sitting on me.
But how was that growing up? Because basically you started bumping, taking training in the ring at about 12 to 13 years of age, correct?
I've technically been bumping since I was a fetus because my mom was actually wrestling with me. And Robbie Brookside, actually, he's down in NXT. He gave me my first bump. And I said this on the other podcast too, but he gorilla pressed my mom when she was 7 months pregnant. She's a small lady, so like you just couldn't tell.
Right.
And it was 14 months before she just had Zach. So he gorilla pressed my mum onto my dad on the outside. And so after that, she was like, wow, I don't feel very good. And then like she went to the doctor, and he's just like, well, you want the good news and bad news? You're knocked up. And she's like, excuse me? She comes out, and she's like bigger than anything. Like she said she went in skinny, come out like a big chick.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I've been bumping since I was a fetus. And I think that's how I developed my scoliosis, thanks to my mother. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
What's with scoliosis?
I have scoliosis too, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Serious condition?
No, it's not bad. Well, it's like a question mark, but I only discovered it when I actually came here. And I had no idea I had it until we had like a personal trainer, luckily in NXT, FCW was what it was before. And I was like bent over and I was doing rows and stuff like that. And the trainer was just like, whoa, like your back is messed up. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he took a picture and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. And I got an X-ray on it and stuff, and it was like a question mark. I was just like, that's weird. Like I thought my back was like good.
Okay, so with 10 years in the business, has that affected you in any way, shape, or form?
No,
is it supposed to present a problem down the road?
It could, but you have to like go to a chiropractor, do some yoga or something like that, which I don't do any of those, so that's probably an issue in the future.
There's a very interesting documentary on YouTube that I found, and it's called The Wrestlers, Fighting with My Family. Yeah. And y'all filmed this. And what was the motivation behind filming this? Because I would recommend everybody watch it to get more of a backstory of where you came from.
Yeah.
But whose idea was it to film that?
It wasn't actually any of our ideas. So growing up, obviously our family is very unusual. We are a wrestling family in England, and we don't have that, So we had a lot of people coming up to us, like, asking for documentaries, and we do it all the way through growing up. Like, you'll see me doing documentaries where I'm in the bath at, like, 2 years old, like, people filming me, And this one guy saw a documentary, Muscles and Mascara, I think it was, and it was about my mom. I think that was it. And then he confronted them and was like, okay, we want to do this documentary. And they were like, okay, but what are we going to base this documentary on? Just the family? And that's me when I was training. And my dad was like, well, she actually has a tryout with WWE coming up. And this was my second tryout, because I didn't get in the first time. But my second tryout came up, and they were like, this is perfect. So we're going to show, you know, the grind up until you try out, and maybe if you get in, a successful story. You know.
And let's go back before we get into, you know, the years when you signed with WWE at 18, which is crazy. But, you know, growing up, you know, you were in the ring, you were traveling all over the world at 14, but before that, you were tending bar.
I was tending a bar.
But you were doing other things as well, because I heard you were also bouncing.
I was bouncing.
Now,
yes.
how does this happen?
Yes. So, okay. So, obviously, my mother...
England is a lot different than the United States, because this wasn't very long ago.
Still wasn't
the
legal.
lady's only 23 years old.
It still isn't legal, but yeah, I've done a lot in my lifetime, which is really weird. But yeah, so basically, my mum and dad would go away, and they'd leave me in charge, because sometimes my brother can, you know, have a few too many in the bar at that time. So it'd be me, 15 years old, looking after this bar. So, we'd always get people in there, but then one day my mum and dad was there and they were tending the bar, but these two chicks were fighting near the fruit machine down there and no one was there, so I ran up to this woman, grabbed her in a headlock and did a headlock takeover and took her down, and then this other one tried to come at me and I grabbed her in a headlock, so I'm sitting on one's head like this and I got another one in the headlock and I'm like, boom, stop moving. So I'm 15 years old holding these two chicks down. My mum just come running down. The amount of times I had to do that, I like pinned a guy up against a wall because he was trying to like he was being mean to, you know, one of my friends. So he was there for his, you know, he liked guys, or like he found that as an issue. So he was being very rude and very disrespectful. So then he like went up to him and tried to glass him, and I just rugby tackled him into the wall and like held him there. I don't know, I had like this mum strength or something, but like I managed to pin him up against the wall while, you know, my friend Sam was taken out. And so yeah, I did bouncing in my time.
So then, with everything else that was going on in your life, with the travel, with bouncing, I mean, did y'all have just different wrestlers coming to the household, needing places to stay when they were working for y'all?
All the time. We always.
So how was that? I mean, this is not a. I mean, it's different. It's not everybody grows up like this. So what was it like with the rotating cast of the interesting personalities, we'll say, in the business of professional wrestling?
The most exciting part is that we'd have American wrestlers come over. So Jake the Snake lived with us for a little while. It was the most wildest thing, and he was so sweet. And he used to, you know, get the snakes, like, he used to take the snakes from the pet shops over there and bring them in. And then he ripped a piece of his boot up for me, and I still have it, and he signed it for me. And that was, like, my lucky thing from him. But, yeah, I got to meet Yokozuna. I got to meet the Bushwhackers, like, you know, Greg the Hammer, like, you know, the Hammer Valentine. Like, I got to meet all these people. It was awesome. Like, I loved it. Like, I didn't, you know, I was always around, like, a billion people all the time.
Well, let's go to a Twitter question right now. And they want to know, people on Twitter, which superstar and diva did you look up to as a child?
Well, diva-wise, I looked up to Bull Nakano, which obviously I do her submission, but a little bit modified. I looked up to Lita. I dressed up as her. There she is, Bio Foreman.
Bull Nakano.
Yeah, she was a badass.
She was.
Yes, she was awesome. And Lita, because you know what? I actually dressed up as Lita for Halloween before. I stole my mum's underwear and had like her underwear up to my shoulder blades before. It was like disgusting. But my mum was like, "Well, are you wearing my underwear?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Lita, Mum." But yeah, I dressed up as her. And you, like, I was obsessed with you.
Okay, tell me how
I have, like, I was you, and actually I loved Rikishi. Like, those two, like, you two are my favorites. You, because it was mostly your character was just so cool when I was growing up. I was like, man, this is a guy coming down and quack bite, drinking beers, flipping people off. I was like, this is madness. And the fact that you didn't change your character whether you were heel or babyface. And that's something that I really looked up to. And so I was trying to do it, especially in WWE, try to be more like you know, like Paige 316.
No, but it's interesting, you know, a bald-headed guy with a goatee, you know, can resonate with, at the time you were a teenager, and strike a chord with you.
Oh, I was like in love, I'm going to embarrass myself. I was in love with you. Like, I was like, this guy is awesome. Like, am I embarrassing myself? Because I feel like But yeah, no, you know what I mean.
But no,
so,
okay,
like,
so in talking about, you know, I was able to maybe influence you. Now, obviously, Bull Nakano, Lita, and earlier you mentioned Alundra Blaze.
Alundra Blaze, but you guys all just stood out to me.
But let's talk about the character of Paige, because in England, you wrestled as Brittany Knight.
I did.
Okay, so...
that was a funny story. Actually, I was first in the tag team called the Norfolk Dolls, which I recommend anyone to watch this movie. It's called California Dolls, or the Marbles from the 70s. And it's a wrestling movie about a female tag team. But yeah, I was called the Norfolk Doll, Brittany Knight.
So tell me about Paige now. Okay, so all of a sudden you go for your first tryout and you're rejected. Because, why were you rejected? You tried to be a diva.
I tried to be a diva. So I got this tryout from, Drew McDonald, who sadly passed away this year. He got me the tryout. And he was just like, you need to be a diva. Like, I was like, I don't know how to be a diva. I still don't even know how to brush my hair properly. Like, I can't do makeup. I can't do this. But I was like, well, I'm going to give it my best shot. So I got a spray tan. I got someone to do my hair. Like, I had colorful makeup on. I cut like a colorful dress. That's funny. And I was just all in color.
How did you feel when you got gussied up like that?
Oh my God. I was not in any way confident. Like, I hated the way I was dressed. And I was so tan. And I was just like, I look like, not that I'm against anyone who's tan, but it just didn't suit me. Like, I didn't feel comfortable like that, So, like, just walking through, I was just, like, very timid and very, like, placid and didn't really want to, like, And then I had my tryout with this woman called Lisa Fury, and I, like, busted her lip open in the tryout because I was just so nervous. And they were like, yeah, well, maybe come back next time, maybe get some more, like, you have to be more confident, I feel like they could tell that I wasn't being me.
Right.
So, luckily, actually, Johnny Ace managed to get me a second tryout, which was awesome. And it was only 6 months later, but, I came back and I was like, well, I'm going to come back as myself. If they don't like it, fine, but I'm not going to try and be something I'm not. Like, I refuse to be, So I come back, dark hair, piercings, black clothes, and they were just like, right. And the ones who were running the tryout was actually Jamie Noble and Goldust.
Right.
And it was funny because there was this, we were in the ring for like 2.5 hours. And I remember Jamie Noble, he probably won't remember this, but I was the only girl at the tryout, the rest were guys, one of them being Zach, and we had to tag in and out. And then Jamie comes up to me, he was like, hey, tag yourself in, we want to see you and your brother again.
Right.
So I was like, man, I'm going to get heat for this, but I was like, all right, this big old bodybuilder's backing up, and like, boom, tag myself in. I was like, sucker, I'm taking over. So me and Zach, we beat the crap out of each other. For like literally half the time we're in the ring. Like, it was ludicrous. We were sweating, but it was awesome because then Goldust took me aside and then he was like teaching me the stuff that I went wrong, and I was just like, but this is
what kind of stuff were you doing wrong? Because there's a difference between European style and American style. So what was actually you critiquing?
It's the stuff in between. I think we were doing the international spots. We were doing like headlocks and tackle. But I was doing things where I just wasn't like selling the things in between. So like Zach get me in a headlock, I send him off, and I'm just like standing there like waiting for it. He was just like, no, sell it, like go down, come back up, then get hit, But he was teaching me like the ins and outs, which is awesome.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Do you own a home or condo? Or perhaps you rent a house or apartment? Sure you do. And Geico knows it can be hard work. Because whether you own or rent, you still have to fill it full of your stuff. Your furniture, the flat screen, and all the boxes of stuff that have been sitting there ever since you moved in, but haven't unpacked. It's hard to find the time, right? But you know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. That way, you'll rest easy knowing that your home and all your stuff is protected. Like the furniture and that flat screen. Plus, getting a quote on homeowners and renters insurance is super easy through Geico. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Like going through all those boxes of stuff. Visit geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
So when you ended up in NXT down in Florida, you came with a very physical style because that's the way you're brought up. You're wrestling with your brothers.
Summer Rae would tell you about that.
Yeah. Ooh. So, you kind of had a reputation, and I like to work snug. And, man, we were just talking to Road Dogg a while ago, and we were laughing about when those guys were feeding my comebacks. But from the way you were brought up, especially with a family of wrestlers, you're protecting the business, you're laying everything in.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Stiff but safe.
Right.
Is what my family used to call it. So, yeah, be snug, but as long as it looks good and you're not really hurting anyone, cool. So, like, I would get in there, and all the wrestling moves would be different names. Like, everything would be different. And the girls just didn't like me. So, like, the first couple of months,
why did it not like you?
Well, I got told in the end by actually Shaw Guerrero. She comes up to me, and she's so freaking... We become really good friends afterwards. But at first, she was like, no, I was just intimidated by the way you look, because I came in like
Right.
this, like crazy woman.
Yeah.
Some great pictures you're showing, guys. You know, and I came in looking like that. I already had wrestling experience. You know, I looked different. And she was like, I was personally intimidated by that. And I apologized. Like, people were just mean. Like, they were mean. And then Summer Rae, I've always been friends with her from day one.
Right.
Because we're like 2 weeks apart. I gave her a tackle, which in England we call check.
Yeah.
So, like, and she's used to coming down for girls because she's so tall, but with me, like, and I stick it in. So, like, we run this spot, and I give her this tackle, and I smack her straight in the teeth, and she lays on the ground, and she starts crying, and all the girls was like, she's trying to sabotage you, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not trying to sabotage anyone.
It's called an accident.
It's an accident. It's what wrestling is. Like, give me a receipt. I don't care. Like, freaking smack me around the face. Like, yeah.
So you're known for your physicality. You've dialed it back a little bit. But tell me about, if you're influenced by the three women that you just named, a little bit of Stone Cold. Tell me about, you know, the transition into Paige. Because if Stone Cold goes out, you know, he's selling cans of whoop ass. If The Rock goes out, he's selling electricity. If The Undertaker goes out, it's that phenom and the mystique that he has. Tell me about who and what Paige is.
Well, Paige, mostly, this is going to sound like really cheesy because I'm sitting right next to you, but it's mostly based on you. And Paige being so different is basically me, but an exaggerated version as well. But, like, I always wanted to be the girl that stood out, the anti-diva, someone who was different, and that's where Nakano was, you know, what Lita was. Always someone that stood out, was very special. Like, you always could tell them from a crowd, you know, like, oh, man, she must be someone. But in a different way. So, like, I just got all those qualities and put them into Paige, especially, like, you know, taking some from my mum's style, too, and bringing that in. And, you know, Dusty Rhodes helped me a lot in that.
Talk about Dusty. I mean, he just passed away, but, man, he was a guy who was one of the first guys that resonated with me. And, you know, he was in a ring bleeding. Someone had to iron claw on him. I was hooked. Yeah. What did Dusty Rhodes do for you?
He kept me sane and in sanity 100%. Because there was a lot of times where I just wanted to break, like, whether people think it or not, this job is hard. And I moved across the world.
When you say that, well, whether people think it or not, this job is hard.
Some people think, like, oh, they're on TV, like, they're in these cameras, they're you know, people love them, they have fans. That's the cool part, sure, and you get to travel the world.
Yeah, there's a little bit of glamour that looks nice, but when you get in the grind, it's...
And people obviously don't understand that. And I moved across the world, and I was by myself at 18, you know, so Dusty was so sweet, and he took me in, and there was just points where I was like, these girls are mean to me, I can't get it, I can't understand, like how long am I going to be here for? Like, I was just breaking down, and he was so helpful, and he's always just like, I want you to be this girl, and he would point me to, he's like, you be you, like, you're it. And then Cody, his son, actually said it in the best way. He liked his broken toys as well. You know, whoever was like the full package, he was just like, okay, he was great with. But those broken toys, like, he spent more attention with, and he wanted to fix up and shine up and send on their way, you know. So he spent a lot of time with me. I was his princess.
Well, I love
my little porcelain princess.
The guy who has a magical lisp.
I love him.
And I did too. What's the best advice that he ever gave you?
Oh, man. I have a story about him, actually. He was always saving money, first of all.
I love that. You're 23 and you get it. Because in a documentary, I don't want to cut you off, but you're talking about all these things you want to buy.
I was joking, and I hate that they put that in there. I was joking about that.
But back in the old days, back when the dinosaurs still roamed the earth, you know, the promoters or the guys that were in charge of the bookers, they'd always tell you, kids, save your money. So you're 23, and he would tell you that is so special.
No, and I did. And, you know, the first year, I didn't save it very well. Obviously, I'm 18. I'm finally earning some good money. I'm like, this is great. Yeah. Spend it on this, spend on that. Biggest mistake ever, because I have to pay tax at the end of the year, and I didn't realize that. But I save after that, and I save now. And I don't throw my money away like that. I save, I pay my tax. Like, is good, and I thank him for it. But I have a story, like, so he would run all the promo classes down there. And he'd be like, Paige, baby, I don't want you to talk. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you want me to do the promo? What do you mean you don't want me to talk? And so I used to always have to try and come up with promos where it was still at least 30 seconds long, but literally only saying one sentence. And I literally got so frustrated one day, and he just wanted the best for me, I know that. But I just said this one sentence and was just like, okay, like this. I was just like done, you know, like I just couldn't think of any more. I couldn't get as creative. And he was like, baby, I asked you for chicken dinner and you give me chicken. I can't say it, beep. And I was just like, like that. I was like, Dusty! And like, he was just like, well, baby, like, oh. And then he started shouting at me in front of everyone. And it's the first time he shouted at me before. And I was just like, because he's always been hard on me, especially like the first couple of weeks I was there. He would always call me up to do extra promos, and he'd be like, okay, you're in love with Roman Reigns and he stole your toaster, go. And I'm like, I've just met these guys, like, how do I do this? Like, you know, so I'm like, and I call him a mother, right? Yeah. I called him it. I was just like, all right, I'm going to call you the mother.
How did the dream respond to you calling that?
So I do that, and I storm out, and I run up the stairs in the Performance Center. I go in the locker room like this, right? And he comes running up the stairs after me. And he sends one of the girls in. The girl's like, hey, Dusty's outside. And I was like, no, I don't want to speak to him right now, you know, because he was like a father figure, you know. I'm just like, no, I'm mad at him. So then, and then Dusty opens the door. He's like, baby, you get your ass out of here right now. Like, he's like shouting at me. I'm like, okay, I'm coming out. And we sat on the steps in the Performance Center. And we sat there for like a good 20 minutes. And he was like, baby, I just wanted to tell you, you know, he just wanted the best for me. And he was like, and I asked you to do this, you know, and you do deliver, but today you didn't. And like, this is the critique you're going to get, you know. But he just sat there and he was just like, I know you have something special. And he was like, and I know you could be a big star one day. He was just like, but I just want the best for you, and like, you just didn't bring it today. And he was just so sweet. And then we laughed about it, and he was like, and you were the first person to ever call me a mother effer and get away with it. I was like, sorry, Dusty. But he used to tell people that story.
Here's the thing I got for you. I mean, with promos, I mean, what was the hang-up? Because in watching, you know, all the videos that I watched, you know, and getting ready for this conversation, you're out, you know, hustling on the street, passing out flyers, talking to people, trying to get people in the building, and then, you know, you're working the crowd, you're clapping. I mean, you're engaged.
Before I come over here.
So what's the difference? I mean, and in talking to you and listen to you interact with people, you're just chatty Cathy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're just like,
I love it.
Shut up, yeah.
Why the hang-up or why the disconnect with the promo?
I don't. Well, the thing is, I did promos, but I didn't realize how you could tell a story in a promo. Like, there's me passing out flyers. So, like, all I did, I used to build rings. And I take them up, put them down, take them up, put them down, like maybe 3 or 4 times a day on the holiday camps, you know. And even when I got my wrist broken and I got knocked out, my dad was like, come on. There's some stories there with my dad. Oh, my gosh. He's a tough guy. I got hit by a car one day. And, like, boom, like, and I'm, like, skidding across the floor. I was on the car bonnet. I was bleeding everywhere, like, coming up my ears, like, and I remember standing up like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I see my brother screaming, everything's in slow motion, and I just fall down. It's like something that, like, the zombie apocalypse. I'm just, like, scraping myself to, like, the front door. And, like, everyone comes running out screaming, like, oh my gosh, Saray, are you okay? And they're, like, dragging me in, and I'm just like, oh my God.
I just got hit by a car.
I just got hit by a car. My limb's hanging off. And my dad's like, can you wiggle your toes? And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, all right, get ready, we have a show to do today. So we went and done the show, and they just bandaged me up, and literally, and we did it again. I broke my scaphoid bone. I don't know how you pronounce that in an American accent, but I broke my scaphoid bone in my wrist on a Samoan, which I wasn't ready for with my mum.
Right.
And my dad had like this little makeshift cast in his bag, so he just like threw it at me. He's like, hey, put it on. I was like, okay, and he's like, right, we're back ready to go tomorrow. I was like, ugh. He's like, but you don't have to put the ring down today. I was like, okay. He's like, but you have to put the ring up tomorrow. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, all right, thanks, Dad.
So how does you know, the travel on the road and back in the day with, you know, the lack of you know, medical, and today, you know, with all the trainers, it's a totally different system.
Totally different.
But the mindset from the background you come from is you work when you're hurt.
Yeah.
Because that's just
and
what you do.
And I didn't understand that here. And like WWE is so great with, you know, people who even get the slightest injury, a sprain, or like they break a nail or something like that. They're straight on like, okay, you okay? Do you need some time off? You know, like they're very good like that. Whereas I I used to look at girls in the performance center and just be like, what are you in there for? Like, get up, like, brush yourself off, get back in the ring. And it used to annoy me, but I realized, like, they didn't get brought up in the business the way I did.
Right.
You know, like
Now, what's your mindset on that? Because you paid a lot of dues. And,
Right.
last week or whatever it was on Monday Night Raw, John Cena, a vicious, broken nose. And that dude's one of the toughest guys in the
Harriet
business.
Ma from Home Alone.
He comes back early from all injuries, but he keeps going.
Right.
But that's the same.
That's the way
background.
it is. I was just like, good for him. And I was just like, everyone's like, that's great. It is courageous. It's awesome. And that's because he's old school, you know? And like, I look at it that way. If I ever got a broken nose in a match, I would want to carry on. I wouldn't want anyone to stop the match. Same as Daniel Bryan. You know, like he got like busted open. He still wanted to carry on his match, and they just wouldn't let him. But yeah, that's how we used to do it. Like, I busted my mum in the nose. I kicked her right in the face. And she carried on, and we broke my wrist, carried on. Like, I got knocked out, still carried on. I'm like, ooh.
I got it before I move on. I want to give your mom some props. I watched the match when you and your mother were working against each other. She's working heel, you're working babyface. The match was 2011. You're what, 18 years old, and she's the heel, and she is just despicable. She's cheating. She's sneaky. She's vicious. She's calculating, and she's taking her time. She's a 20-year vet.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to give her a shout out for the
awesome
work. And this is from World Association of Wrestling.
Right.
So anyway. She's awesome. And how big of an influence was she with regards to, first of all, toughness, but then ring psychology and execution of work?
Oh, she, because we worked each other a lot as WrestleMania, but that we worked each other so often. But like, if I would rush, she would literally boom, smack me, and I would like, I'm like nearly in tears, and she'd just be like, "Hey, you're rushing too much. You need to slow down." And that's just how we're raised, and it was the best thing. And then once I got a little bit older, I got a little bit cockier, and I'd like hit her back and stuff like that. She'd be like, "Don't me." But yeah, that's just how it was, and that's how I was the first couple of weeks I was in FCW. If someone would rush, I'd be like, boom, and they were like, "You can't do that here," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" This is what we do, right?
And sometimes though you do just because of time dynamics. So sometimes it is what it is. But to your point, when it milk something for all it's worth, and then in today's day and age, it is a faster moving product, and so you have to proceed accordingly. In a lot of the interviews that I saw of you, over and over and over again, you would say when someone asked for your autograph, you go, "Why do you like me? Why do you want my autograph?" And so I want to ask you, I mean, from is it a confidence level, or do you not see why people would want your autograph? Because you always ask the same question. Why do you like me?
Why do you like me? Yeah, because like, you know, I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but you know, I go out there and I'm confident, really, really confident. But then outside, I'm just like, wow, you got all these like gorgeous. I feel like it's more of like a low self-esteem thing. Like, you have all these gorgeous women, all these crazy superstars, and I'm like this little girl from a little town in like the middle of like England, nowhere, and then I'm like, why do you want my autograph? Like, why do you like me? Like, what do I do to, like, you know? It's.
But so just so that I read that The Rock gave you a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
What was that?
Stay humble and hungry.
Right.
Because, you know, you always want to have more goals, you know, and you always want to try and reach them. So always be passionate and humble, because you know what? Like, a lot of people are not going to want to work with you if you're a complete a-hole. Right.
But so then you know, I want to give you something to take from this conversation as well, because when people ask for your autograph, you know, you have struck a chord with them, and they get to live vicariously through what you're doing. And all the years that I was in the ring, I had so much fun, and it was a blast. It was a rocket ride, and I knew that I was kicking ass, and we were, it was a whole roster of Hall of Famers. So we're having a great time. It wasn't until I was on the Hall of Fame, you know, there, and they did a 5-minute video package, and I was like able to see, okay, dude, this is actually what you were doing.
Yeah.
So my advice to you, a 10-year vet at only 23 years of age, when you get a chance and you're not on the road, sometime when you're at your crib in Florida, just step back, because sometimes I think you can get so far in the forest you can't see the trees.
Right.
So step away from it for a second. I know you're totally immersed in it, and it's your entire life, and who knows, it probably will be for another 10 or 15 years. But realize what you're doing and how powerful your presence is, and how passionate the WWE fans are, and realize why you impact these lives. Because look at the story you just said. You know, and just some kid, some girl from North England. Why?
Right. And I kind of like, when I watched the Total Divas back, actually, and I realized, like, the message I always want to give out is, you want to be yourself.
Right.
And, I know a lot of people, like, preach that all the time and, they're not really doing it. But, like, I feel like I do it, And, like, this girl comes running up to me crying her eyes out. And she's like, you know what? You made me get over my eating disorder. I went to Wizard World this weekend, and, like, 5 people, like, different people, guys and girls, come up to me crying. They were like, you helped me get over my anxiety. You helped me be more confident. You helped me think, like, oh, it doesn't really matter what people think of you. Like, I can dress the way I want. I can look the way I want. I can be the way I want. And I have to keep saying, I'm like, yeah, like, that's so weird. Like, I'm getting it out there, and that's all I want. But I said that I was going to I told Daniel Bryan I'd tell a story about how he met my family. So we'll get into that soon as well. So I'll tell you.
Let's go back to Florida for a second.
Yeah.
Triple H has been a big influence on you.
Huge influence. He gave me. I actually went for a stage. This reminds me. I actually went for a stage at this point where I had so much bad luck. I got in a car accident. I had to have surgery. So I was out for 3 months. I got my bank account, like I ordered something online and it got completely hacked, money taken from me, and I couldn't pay for my surgery. So and my dog got hit by a car. So I was like upset. So at this point, like Triple H I was just like, I'm just ready to come back. I have like so much like bad luck and stuff going on. And he was so great, and he was just like, I'll get you back a week earlier for this. So he gave me the opportunity to come back, and like literally that was my first day back and from surgery, and we did the whole championship thing, but he helped.
So that was your first NXT. You're the first women's NXT champion.
Yeah, I was buzzed, and I was just like, what? Like, how is that possible? Like, to make history in the WWE at like only like 21 at that point. Like, it blows my mind. It blows my, and Emma is like such an amazing talent as well, and getting to work with her, and she's come from the similar background. She's done the grind and right. Stuff prior. She's been doing it since she was 13, so it's just like, to work with her and do this, and Triple H give us the opportunity to do it, because I feel like that's how the whole Diva Revolution started, was because of him.
Well, you mentioned it. It's a Twitter question. I want to ask you about that. The Diva Revolution. Did you start it?
I feel like.
Okay, well, what do you think has been the best thing about the Diva Revolution, and why?
I just think them giving us a lot of time to actually tell a story and showcase what we can actually do is probably the best thing. Opportunity. Yes. But, like, I feel like Triple H was definitely the one that started it when it comes to NXT. You had AJ, who was different, quirky, but, wrestling side of things, she didn't do that very often. And she was amazing. Like, I looked up to her as well because she was different. But he gave us an opportunity. He's like, hey, you're going to have, like, 20 minutes for this NXT match. And we're just like, what? That's great. Wow. Yeah. And this is the first, like, live special we're going to have on the WWE Network. No other pay-per-view's been on there. We were the first pay-per-view, and it was like NXT. And he gave me and Emma the opportunity to do that, which and Stephanie was there as well, and it just blew my mind. So I feel like he kind of started it, and then me and Emma kind of got the ball rolling with that. Okay,
so then you and your Emma, did you start the revolution? Because then in the wake, here comes Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Becky. These women come along. Did you open the door?
I feel like it was definitely we opened the door, but having Sarah Del Rey as well come in, who's an amazing like entertainer, wrestler, whatever you want to call it. Like, she was awesome, and I actually worked with her on the Indies, not in a match, but we worked on the same shows. So having her in there and teaching the girls not just a diva way of wrestling, but a man's way of wrestling too, like a superstar way of wrestling, and I. Fit Finley too. Once we come up here, he gave us the opportunity to do so.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Dean Malenko right now is
phenomenal.
Amazing. I actually go to Dean a lot nowadays. Like, I'll go up to him and talk to him about a lot of stuff. But yeah, so I feel like them as a whole, not just me, but Triple H for giving us the opportunity, and us for delivering a match and showing what girls can actually do, and then Sarah Del Rey coming in, and then it's like a ladder and everyone in it.
Yeah, I saw some old traveling videos of y'all in England. Y'all in just some brown car just hauling ass down the highway. There's hair flying everywhere, windows are down.
How broke down all the time.
How's it travel from back into to these days? I mean, who do you travel? Are you traveling solo? You got gals packed in the car trying to cut back expenses?
Usually I travel, sometimes I travel by myself. But, I have Alicia Fox, which I travel with a lot. I used to travel with Emma. But, yeah, we get our rental cars now, and we have our hotels, and, they get our flights and stuff like that. But in England, we would like get in these crappy little cars and try and all squeeze in there, like 5 or 6 of us, like trying to like get to the next town, and we'd break down on the side of the road all the time. Like we'd have to stop at gas stations and eat the sandwiches out of there. Like it's definitely different. It's way nicer here. Way nicer.
Man, I tell you, I'm real good friends with William Regal.
Yeah.
And we were down in Blackpool one time, and we were down at visiting a bunch of his friends, and they were, there was a wrestling ring set up, and the guys were actually, bringing the people in, the marks in, and doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, because it was like really basic and pretty low key, like you passing out those flyers.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget one of the guys. I can't remember his name, but I'll never forget what he told me. I would think I was at that time, pretty white hot on top of the world. And we shook hands as we left, and I said, "Hey man, nice to meet you." And he looked at me. He goes, "Steve," he goes, "enjoy life." And I was like, man, here's a guy who's working his ass off to get these people to come in here, and we're selling out, 20,000 square foot, 20,000 seat arenas, night after night. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
And here's this guy telling me to enjoy life, and I never forgot that. Are you enjoying life? The pressure cooker's on, because it looks all fun and fine and dandy and glamorous, but there is a grind to it.
Yeah, that's what I actually tell my friends and my family. Like, I have to have that fun, like I have to still have another life out of this, So like, yes, I travel and like I'm working a lot, but I wouldn't have any other way. But after the show, like, hey, we'll go out, we'll go hang out, we'll go to eat, we'll go, to a bar. Just kidding. But yeah, we'll have a good time, because and then I'll just go on random trips. Like the 2 days that we sometimes have off a week. I just went to Costa Rica one week. We went to Tulum, in Mexico. We went, we just take little random trips, just because you have this one life, and you have to try and live it as much as you can, and you have to try and feel normal as well.
At 10 years, where do you feel you are in the business?
Oh, I'm still learning. I'm still I've got so much. I'm still super fresh here, so I feel like I've kind of started over again, kind of like a restart. But I've still got a lot of time.
Well, yeah, you still got a lot of time. Yeah, you're only 23, but I always consider that 10-year mark kind of be the holy grail, mark, where you really know from a heel babyface perspective of what's going on in the lay of the land with what promoters, want you to do with regard to storyline, the details. Obviously, you're probably mechanically proficient in the 5-year zone, but that 10-year mark, as I always talk to Arn Anderson, that's when you really have it all together.
That's like a milestone for sure, yeah.
Do you feel like you have that all put together?
I feel like some days I do, some days I don't. It's so strange. It's so strange. I feel like obviously I know what I'm doing, and I know what I want to do, but there's still some days where I'm just like, man, do I still not get it? Because it's...
Well, tell me about the transition from being, when you started with NXT, you already had 6-7 years in the business. Yeah. You had to be light years ahead of everybody from one standpoint, but because you were from a European style, what was learning the WWE,
So
playbook like?
It's being bigger as well, because we're doing it in front of sometimes even 12 people, and we're so small, we don't show out too big, and this is entertainment. You have to do it to there's millions inside a camera, and then there's thousands in an arena, and you have to learn how to showboat to these people. You have to learn how to entertain these people, all these people in an arena, and I've never ever been in front of that many people before. Even at NXT, that's one of the biggest crowds I've been in front of.
Well, what was I've worked at some. I used to work in car dealerships, the parking lots, getting suplex on the parking lots, and there were 15, 20 people there. So you talk about the people, 12 people, 15. Sometimes you have a big house or 75.
Yeah.
These days on a good night, there's 18,000 people there.
I know. I still think that they're like, man, it's not a great crowd tonight. There's only 1,800 people in this live event. I'm like, that's a lot of people. That is still a lot of people to me, damn it. I was just like, oh. But it's like, hey, do we go home for this? Or, because, sometimes if we got, my dad was very strict, though. If there was only 2 people in there, he was like, no, we're going out there to do a show. But, sometimes there would be, 2 people, and the show would get cancelled, Here it was just 1,200 people, that's it. Does this get cancelled because there's only 1,200 people in it? This is great.
You got to give everybody their money's worth.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go out there if there's one person out there and put on a show if there was thousands in there. So.
Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tough Enough, and because I've enjoyed watching you on there.
I'm such the bad guy, apparently.
No. But here's the thing, and let me go out on a record saying this. I hosted Tough Enough in 2011. And I had a good time. I enjoyed all the season before mine, and I'd been out filming a project, so I hadn't got a chance to see any of the episodes. So I binge watched them, all 6 in a row. And, you know, the show is very interesting. I really like it. I enjoy the hell out of it. And I'm not saying that for a plug, because I'll tell you exactly what's on my mind. You know that.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons it got met with a little bit of indifference is because of a level of expectations.
Right.
I think when they reincarnated it and brought it back, I think people expected to see what they saw in 2011.
Yeah.
The show's changed. I like the live dynamic part of it. Sometimes it feels a little bit like trying to put 15 pounds of stuff in a 10-pound bag, but I like the show. I like the franchise. I like all the moving parts, all the people on the show.
Oh, it's awesome.
You were very honest with these contestants. And you've gotten a little bit of heat for it.
Oh, tons of heat.
But here's my thing.
I got death threats. It was great.
But you're a 10-year vet.
Yeah, but
when
they
you get in someone's grill, it's because you're an established veteran and you know what the hell you're talking about.
That's the thing, like, people who don't know me, or, like, you know, the average viewer, because this goes out globally, worldwide, so a lot of non-wrestling fans are watching it too. So they're looking at me as like, this 22-year-old girl, like, she's trying to give some critique to, like, these poor defenseless, like, you know, people who just want to try and be wrestlers. No, that's not the case whatsoever. Like, they don't know my backstory, which is frustrating.
Yeah, but you're ripping them. They think you're ripping them to shreds, and you're not. You're being honest. This is coming from someone who's done this for 10 years.
Yeah, and, like, I felt like I definitely helped Sarah Lee. Yeah, I was very, very tough on her the first 2 days, but my parents did that to me. And they were just like, and they do it to other people too. I'd see them in the training, and there's this girl called Destiny, and she just wouldn't come out of her shell.
Right.
So my mum got in her face, and she was shouting, she was screaming at her to the point where Destiny just went, smacked her around the face, and she was like, that's it. That's the confidence I want. Yeah. And she just, like, felt, she was like a new person. So I was just like, well, why don't I use this on this girl who, you know, doesn't know a wrist lock from a padlock, doesn't know, like, what, like, she's so shy,
right.
she's boring, like, to, like, I'm not being mean, it's just, she's
You're
boring.
Being honest.
Yeah, I'm just, like, very boring, very, like, whatever. So I was just like, well, we need some personality out of her, because if not, like, she's just going to stay here because of the popularity vote. So, you know, I got into her and I was mean to her and I was saying stuff, and it wasn't like incorrect stuff. I was saying mean stuff that was right.
Right.
But, like, you know, I did it for 2 weeks, and on the third week I was just like, well, this is it. Like, I know that, like, whoever I put in the bottom 3 at that particular point, that they have to cut a promo on me. And I'm thinking to myself, this is her time to do so.
Right.
So, like, I'm like, all right, bring it on. Like, this is your time. And she was sweet. Afterwards, she was like, you know, like, if you would have put me in the bottom 3 and if I would have had to do a promo, like, I was going to call you out anyway. And I was like, good. But I'm glad I picked you, because you know why? You stood out.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is not, I don't want to say, well, you're hard on them, but you're honest with them.
Yeah.
But that's your job. I mean, the show's called Tough Enough.
Yeah.
And hello, if that don't ring a bell,
it's not called That's Cuddle After. Like.
Yeah, and this ain't easy. I would tell the people back in 2011. I said, hey man, one of you is going to win this thing, but the toughest part's going to be when you actually get in the business. So that's when the tough part starts.
Like, then...
No, but here to your credit as well. You give them positive encouragement, just like you said when you fired Sarah up and she came back on you, and you gave her props.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So you're hard, but you're fair.
Yeah.
It's an honest. Man, I tell you what, you can get 1 million people in this business to lie to you. It's very rare. I mean, not rare, but when someone will look you dead in the eyes and give you the truth, I'd rather have that all day long. Don't sugarcoat nothing, because the truth's going to come out sooner or later.
Yeah. It was like really hard recently, because obviously the whole Patrick Clark thing.
Now, talk to me about the Patrick thing, because you put him on blast, you put him in the bottom 3.
Yeah, I put him on blast because you know what? He's 19 and he already had an ego, and that's something you don't want. Like, you know, like, you don't want people to find it hard to work with you, because there'll be less and less people that'll be like, no, I don't want to work this guy. Like, this guy's you know. And the whole point of that episode was humility. You know, you have to be a good person. You have to be, you know. You have to be respectful.
Don't believe your own.
Don't believe your own.
We got to bleep out half the show.
We have to bleep out a lot of our things. This is great.
So was it too much ego? It wasn't confidence. It was ego.
It was. It kind of got to. He rubbed me the wrong way, and you know, it just. I was like, okay, well, he needs a shock. Okay. You know, like, put him in the bottom 3. I didn't expect him to go, but that means, you know. And people, like, as soon as he did win, I was like, wow, okay, he's gone. But, like, I got backlash on Twitter, and I'm thinking, okay, guys, the whole point of the show is you vote for who you want to stay. And at this point, like, you didn't vote for him, so you really didn't care. So why are you giving me crap about it? Like, you know, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Well,
it's
that
your
was
job
the
to
thing.
vote.
You put a guy in the bottom three, and
Yeah.
you know, back in the day when I was doing it, you know, I might have had my crosshair on somebody, but I give them a chance to, you know, talk their way out of
Right.
it. And sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't.
Right.
If you put someone in the bottom three, you put them there, but the viewing public doesn't have to vote them off. If the consensus was, hey, this guy should stay, then he should have stayed.
He should have stayed.
So it's funny when you get the tweets like, hey, what are you doing? You shouldn't put Patrick on bottom three.
To like bring Patrick back, and I was like, well, actually, the biggest mistake was probably this week when Marta went, because I feel like Marta, whatever was said and done, he looked great. He could deliver a promo. He had character and personality whenever he needed. He could switch on. I mean, he may be like a nice, timid guy behind the scenes. When he did his thing, it was just like, wow, like you know.
He stood out. He jumped off
jumped
the
out, and I
television
was-
screen for me.
You know, and the whole thing about Amanda getting saved, like, I don't have anything against Amanda. I just don't think she should have got saved because she was hot. Like, that should have...
Now what? So the Miz used his safeguard there.
I was like,
so,
what are
and
you doing, you idiot? What is going on around here?
What were you thinking when
I
you
was
pulled
just
out
like,
the
well, you're
safeguard?
taking the heat off me, brother, man. Oh, God. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I don't need that. I was like, all right, good luck with that, because, you know, I'm...
Well, what's the story with Daniel Bryan? Because I've enjoyed
Oh,
his
yeah.
presence on the show because
So-
he's not been working.
His book is out right now. I'm putting a plug out.
Okay,
we will
there we
enjoy
go.
this story too. She already knows the story. But I met him back in 2003. And, you know, what was I? 11? I can't count for some reason right now. Anyway, so I met him then, and he come over, and it was like one of those shows where there's like 3 in a row, you know, where he did like 3 matches in one night. And he walks in, and he like no one picked him up from the airport. This is in his book, but they're not named in it. But this is definitely about my dad and brother. Anyway, he walked into the locker room, and he had to make his own way there. And he was like, I just see these 2 guys, and one's holding another guy behind the back like this, and the other one's like punching him in the stomach like this. And he just thought, oh, laugh and joke is probably a British thing. So he goes like, hey guys, hi, I'm Brian, da da da. And then my dad turns around and goes, hey, how you doing? I'm Ricky Knight, like that, and then carries on punching this guy in the stomach. So then, like, he leaves, come back in, and then he sees my dad and my brother dangling this guy out the window by his feet. They were like 4 stories in the air. So, and then he was just like, oh, laughing and joking again. And then Mal Mason comes up, and he said he had like a bunch of people come up to him and was just like, I'm so sorry about tonight. And he was just like, what are you talking about? He thought it was just because you had to wrestle 3 days in a row, 3 times in a row. And he was like, oh no, it happens all the time in America. And he was just like, wait, what? And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, and then he explained to him like that was actually like James wasn't great about my mom, so like they're very protective. Like we're a very protective family, especially over this one.
But I've enjoyed and so they were pretty aggressive protecting you back in the day.
It was my brothers mostly. There's my brother Asa too, but my brothers Zach and Roy. Oh my gosh, So if I had boys, especially my dad would have my uncles come around and they'd give me like trash bags and be like, go give this to your boyfriend. I'm like, why? He goes, because he mess around with you, that's what he's going to end up in. I'm like, I can't give him this. But then they made me do it. I was like, this is what you're going to end up in if you hurt me. But like, there was one time, one of my brother's friends, and he was very overly flirtatious with me, and he just wouldn't leave me alone like all night. And I'm trying to run this bar, you know, like I'm trying to like pull these drinks and stuff like that, and this guy won't leave me alone. So my brother just grabs a pool cue and smacks him around the head with it. And this guy's eyes, he fell down, come back up, and he was like, sorry, Roy, I didn't mean to flirt. And they respected my brother so much that they were like, okay, like I pushed the line. Zach did it once, and this guy wouldn't leave me alone, one of his friends again. And it was in the middle of the mall, and he called me. He's like, hey, Ray, you should probably come to the mall. I was like, why? He was like, well, I got, what's his name, in the mall right now. I was like, right? He was like, yeah, I punched him. He's on the floor. You should probably get in there because he wants to kiss your feet. I was like, he's not going to kiss my feet, Zach. He can't kiss my feet. Like, so because he like did something like rotten to me. So they're very protective. My brother Asa grabbed ice from a pond, and like there's my boyfriend at the time, and just hit him around the head with it. I was just like, I could never have fun. Like I couldn't go out to clubs because my brothers knew everyone, every bouncer. So they were all just like this, looking at me, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. Like I'm just going to go home. But yeah, now I look after them.
So you miss them, obviously.
Oh yeah, Oh, I miss him all the time. Zach just had another baby. Like, Roy's got 3 kids. Zach's got 2. My brother Asa, he's actually very sick, and he's in this mental institution, but he's doing really well. And my sister, like, she has kids. Their kids have kids. It's wild. But it's like, I feel sad not, seeing them grow up. But, like, they do such a good job of, like, making them remember me. I'll send them, like, action figures and merchandise, and they'll see me on TV. And
what do you do when you're not doing this? Any hobbies?
Yeah, I go to gigs. I like to go like music. I go hang out with friends. Like I said, I go on random trips. But we should a couple of Steve Wises. I'm just kidding. I don't want to say actual alcohol.
What do you drink?
I drink beer and whiskey.
What kind of whiskey?
I drink Bullet. I also drink Jack, and I drink Maker's Mark. And then beer, I drink Purple Haze, I drink Bud Light, I drink Budweiser. I literally drink really any beer. I'm a big beer enthusiast.
When you got into the business of sports entertainment / pro wrestling, did you have any goals? I mean, I just got in because I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Do you have any goals now? I mean, you've been 2-time NXT Women's Champion. First time.
So I was 2-time Divas Champion, NXT Champion. I was double champion. The youngest champion. Yeah, I have like tons of goals. I also want to be Divas Champion again. I want to be a longest reigning Divas Champion. I want to have another WrestleMania match. And one day, like, I really, really, really want to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's a huge goal of mine. I think that's badass. See, that would be really cool around my waist. And also, maybe change that into the Women's Championship. I'm just kidding. I love it.
WrestleMania 32. Right around the corner, really, as we speak.
Yeah, it goes really quickly.
Do you think you'll be in it?
I hope so. If not, I'm going to try and put myself in there. Just make a run in. I'm like, I don't care. I want to be part of this.
Sorry about that. It's somebody talking to me. WrestleMania is going to be AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. 105,000 people.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that many people being in an arena?
No, because I've only just worked in front of like the last WrestleMania crowd, and how much is that? Like over 80,000. Actually, everyone kind of disappeared, and I only saw my mom in the front row. That was like wild. But I can't imagine doing it in front of that many people. You can't hear anything. Dean Malenko said, you know what? He was like, there's a lot of people in there, but you can hear a pin drop because it's so big and like there's no ceiling. So I was just like, I was expecting like loud rat, and you're like walking out like, wow, it's like crickets. People hate me. Just like, no, you just can't hear it.
And that's, we were in Ford Field several years ago. It was when Vince was against Donald Trump. He had the teams working against him. And the thing about it was, that thing is 90,000 seats big. And so we really thought, we were stinking the joint out. We couldn't hear the sound because the sound was disappearing up above. We didn't have the speakers around. So, man, it was really bad and sad because we thought we had lost everything. But the people were really into the match. We just didn't know it.
Yeah. And that's how I was. But then like Dean kind of clued me up. He's just like, no, it's just because there's no ceiling. But they were loud from like our perspective, but in the ring you can't hear a thing. And I was just like, ooh, God, like yikes, that was kind of scary.
So what's next for you? You go from here and you go where? Right back to Do Tough Enough.
We are flying back to Do Tough. So everyone's like pretty much angry with me right now because they're waiting for me so we can jump on the old jet ski and go on the old dusty trail back to Orlando. But yeah, so they're probably all watching this like, will you hurry up?
You get a story about Big Show?
Oh, yeah, on the jet.
You got to tell that before. We're about to go off the air, but you got to tell that story.
Okay, so me and Renee Young were like, this was actually like 2 weeks ago. We're cold, and we were like, all right, we're going to find the blankets. And Big Show's like, no, I got a spare pair of pants like that, and he like throws these pair of trousers at us. So me and Renee decided we wanted to be a sweatpant mermaid. And we both got in like the leg each, and then we hopped, and then they put on some like country music, and then we like danced for everyone on thing. We also started a dance party last week, which was really cool. I started getting the old Tina Turner moves out because I was wearing tassels. No big deal.
At 23, you know who Tina Turner is.
Yeah, my dad brought me up in a good way. His first ring music was Simply the Best.
There you go.
And then he changed it to Beastie Boys, Fight for Your Right. But I got brought up really good on music. I'm not gonna lie to you.
All right, we're about to go home. What can we expect to see on Tough Enough tomorrow night?
I literally have no idea now. Now we've got The Miz on there. It's like, it changes. But yeah, I'm probably, I'm going to see how Amanda did this week.
Yep.
I'm going to see how Sarah did, I'm going to go there all guns blazing because I'm furious at what happened last week. But
guns blazing, we're going to see what happens on Tough Enough tomorrow night. It's live TV, and I'm looking forward to it. And from San Jose, California, I'm sitting here with Paige, 2-time WWE Diva Champion. My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin, riding off from the sunset. I'll catch you down the road. Thank you very much, Paige.
Yay, thank you.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
All this month, celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with Pluto TV. Watch movies like Compadres and the Spy Kids trilogy, or your favorite stars like Luis Gerardo Mendez in Camino a Marte. Plus, Pluto TV has thousands more movies and TV shows and over 45 channels in Spanish, all for free. So download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start streaming today. Pluto TV. Drop in, watch free.
I'm Edward Conlon, host of Talk to Me, the new podcast about the origin of hostage negotiations. Through the first-hand accounts of the NYPD's hostage negotiation team founders, we delve into real cases, big and small, to hear how the team pioneered the use of psychology to save lives. Their motto was, "Talk to me." It changed policing forever. Listen to, follow, rate, and review Talk to Me now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, beginning October 19th.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Big Brother Jake, a.k.a. Jake Warner. My government name. Check it out. I host a show called the Big Brother Jake Podcast, and I've taken my talents to the biggest and baddest platform on the planet. That's right, baby. Podcast One. My show is unique as I talk about everything. Life, sports, entertainment, being a single dad juggling several jobs. I'm a hot mess, but it's damn entertaining. Subscribe and review now on Apple Podcasts and listen on Podcast One or wherever you get your podcasts.